From Texas Weather Tracker TV, this is a Texas Weather Alert.
All right, folks, and we are back with you live. And in fact, let's go ahead. Let's hit. Go and put me on the key there, Copeland. And so we've kind of got a double. We got two things going on. Copeland Wright obviously in as well. We've got a couple new warnings coming out. Things moving very quickly here in the Storm Studios. And again, our team of trackers also out. We're going to be checking in with Joe. He's intercepting one of these cells over here. And again, we've also got Brian Milland out as well. So let's do this. Let's go and zoom in. We've got a brand new warning over here. And part of this is going to be for Kaufman and Van Zandt County in our area. Copeland, I know you've got literally the warning just came out. This is a cell that came out down here around the Corsicana area. We've been tracking this one carefully. It had basically been coming up to severe levels. It's now gone severe. And again, it is sitting right there over that warm front. And this is one of the things we're really going to watch carefully. Again, the overall tornado threat's low, but again, we do have a tornado watch in effect. And again, a lot of times when cells begin to interact with boundaries, especially warm fronts, again, it's not impossible to get some brief tornadic activity. So we're watching this one carefully. It's got a big hail core. But Copeland, what is the status on this warning? I know they literally just issued it, but what is the time and what were the counties on that one again?
Yeah, they did just issue it. It's for Henderson, Kaufman, Van Zandt until 6:30 because of wind at 60 miles per hour plus, and then hailstones at about 1 1/4 inch wide. Okay, so we're talking about quarters, maybe up to about $half size hail. Let's go and zoom this in just a little bit closer, Josh, here. And this is going to be the hail core specifically here that we're watching. It's going to be this area black. We'll also look at the hail core tracker, again, coming up here momentarily as well. But again, we'll take that in just a little bit tighter. And again, you can see the hail core essentially right over that warm front now. So there's the Gun Barrel City area. A lot of people familiar with that. There's Kemp, there's Kaufman. So this being Kaufman County here, Van Zandt County over here. In fact, there's the Canton area, Interstate 20 here. And again, this cell, we've been watching this one carefully over the last 30 minutes, and it really does continue to intensify. Let's go and take a look at the hail core tracker if we can. And again, obviously there could be some 60-mile-per-hour winds with this one. We want to keep our eyes on that. But again, we also want to keep track of this hail core with this one pretty carefully as well. And like I mentioned, that's going to be the hail core essentially due north of Gun Barrel City, sitting right there along where that warm front is. Let's also quickly, Josh, and we may be waiting for the hail core tracker to pop up there. Let's go and take a look at the spin rate as well. Just little things that we're watching carefully as it's sitting over that warm front. Again, spin rate product, you only see this on Texas Weather Tracker TV. It's a computer algorithm, shows us if there is any rotation, again, where the most likely area of rotation is. And again, right now, looking at this here, where you're seeing the areas of dark green, there's a little bit of shear, maybe even a little bit of mid-level rotation with the storm. But again, at this point in time, nothing concerning, nothing that's sticking out. But again, we'll be using this as we go throughout the evening, again, just to double check and make sure none of these storms are getting rowdy or trying to get out of control. There's that hail core. Now, this is looking a little more impressive than it was earlier. And even the width, I mean, how big it is geographically speaking, right? It's quite a bit bigger. And again, we're talking about some 1.5-inch hail. That would be up to about $half. And again, that hail core essentially moved directly through the Gun Barrel City area. And so again, that's going to be tracking up there towards Wills Point, even back over through the Canton area as well. Of course, this right here being Interstate 20, there's Kaufman, there's Terrell. Again, some folks familiar with those cities and hometowns as well. But again, this is a real deal hailstorm here. And again, that's a fairly wide area. Josh, let's zoom this in just a little bit closer if we can. And we'll go, let's do a timeline on that. And great call there, Josh. And so again, you can see Gun Barrel City, we're talking about 538, essentially there right now, right? The Mawbank area about 541, Canton 557, Edgewood 602, and even back up towards Fruitvale, again, that's going to be about 604. So again, really over the next, I mean, we're not talking about very long here at all, right? So this will be continuing to track up there and lift towards the north and towards the northeast. And this cell, I'm telling you, it continues to intensify. We're even seeing a little bit of the structure here with this as well, a little bit more in the way of curvature. And again, a lot of times that can be a little more indicative of some mid-level rotation. Mid-level rotation typically means some bigger hail sizes because as the storm at the mid-levels, right, not the lower levels, but the mid-levels, as it does begin to spin, the hailstones become suspended in the air and they get a little bit bigger before they finally fall on down. And that's what we're seeing here, because again, you can actually even now begin to see a little bit of the curvature. And the thing we have to watch, of course, because there's a tornado watch in effect, we have to see, will any of these storms work any of that mid-level rotation? That again only typically means larger hail, but will they be able to work any of that down a little bit further? If it does come down a little bit further, those are things that we're going to have to be watching for, obviously, as we go through the evening. If we can,
Say that again, Copeland, go ahead. Okay, let's come back over here to the Metroplex. So that cell we were watching down in Ellis County that was intensifying fairly quickly, they're going to issue a new warning on that. I believe that's the cell even that Joe was on. We may, in fact, take a look at this hail core down here around the Wilmer area. So again, this cell quickly intensifying. I mean, it's really lifting out of Ellis County. This is mainly even up here in Dallas County now. But let's go and hit the hail core tracker on this one. Let's go and sample some of this, Josh. And like I said, if you're just now joining us, we have an opportunity of some golf ball size hail possible this evening. This is coming up to 2.2. That doesn't necessarily mean we are for sure seeing that yet. This is a small hail core, but Wilmore all the way up to the Hutchins area, even back over to Seagaville, again, not impossible to have some $half or larger size hail. And the Weather Service, again, just now issuing that warning. There it is. We'll let Copeland tell you about the warning. We want to check on Joe's feed because I believe Joe is over there in that area. But Copeland, tell us quickly about this new warning coming out for Dallas County.
Yeah, so the severe thunderstorm warning right now is for Dallas County, also Hunt, Kaufman, and Rockwall County until 6:45 because of that cell that you just mentioned that's near Ferris, moving just north of that into Dallas County. And we'll continue to watch that right now. They're reporting 1.5 inches size for hail and then 60-mile-per-hour winds out of that cell. So.
Okay, so some $half is what the Weather Service is saying. According to Mesoscan, there could even be a little bit larger. And again, like I mentioned, some golf balls are not impossible. Joe, I believe, I just punched up your stream. I haven't talked to you here in a couple minutes, but I believe you're there in southeastern Dallas County. Am I right? Tell us again which cell you're on, because I think you're right down there in it. Go ahead. I hear some hail. Give us an update.
Yeah, hi, Wayne. So we are on I-45. We just passed, we're to the south side of, I think it's Wilmer. Yeah, we can see some hail, probably some quarters, not too much bigger than that, but pretty much the whole highway was completely covered at one point in time. Some cars were stopping up under some underpasses to try to get out of it, but it was a good little bit of hail for a minute. But now I've come out of the back side of that hail core. And so now the roads are pretty much just wet. I'm going to try to get up here and work my way back around, and then see it and kind of follow it a little bit back into Dallas. Back to you, William.
Okay, yeah, no, great report there, Joe. So again, I mean, basically Joe telling us exactly what we're seeing here on radar as well. Obviously heavy rain, winds to 60 miles per hour possible, yes. But again, the main concern, it is going to be that hail core. Let's go back quickly here, Josh, if we can. Let's go back over to Mesoscan radar. We're going to check back in with Joe, again, coming up momentarily, but he's right there in the mix of it, as Joe and Melissa typically are. And we'll come back over to Mesoscan and again, take another look at what we have going on. So like I mentioned, brand new severe thunderstorm warning now. This is going to be for Dallas County coming back in. And Josh, if you can, you may just click us back over there if you can from your end, if possible. Okay, so there we go. So this is the hail core right here. And again, Joe's right back over here towards the Wilmer area. And so again, you can see that hail core essentially right there to his east. This is a nasty hail core. This is getting even bigger. Josh, let's sample this again. And again, we're not trying to hype this up, but this is a big time hail core. Like I mentioned, golf balls, maybe even larger, not impossible. But again, you can see the purple now. There's a little bit of even blue showing up. But again, this is a big time hail core. And this will be the main concern. Even though we have a tornado watch in effect, we're going to be watching, again, for any kind of areas of spin or anything that is a little more concerning. But again, one of the main things we're going to be watching for as we go through the evening, again, it's definitely going to be, again, that opportunity of hail there as well. So let's do this. Let me come back over here. And I'll just go and grab the radar here just real quick, and we're going to sample this quickly here too. And Josh, I think maybe you have it. I think maybe we're fighting over the radar there. We've got it kind of on both ends, but yeah, there we go. Let's go and sample some of that if possible. And again, we're even hearing some thunder here at our studios. And in fact, we're up on the Stemmons corridor just west of Love Field. In fact, we can even hear thunder happening here too. So it's not 3.2. I can guarantee you it's not that big, but there may be some near golf ball size hail again in this cell. Again, like I mentioned, this is going to be just east of Wilmer, and this is going to be tracking up over towards the Seagaville area. Let's do this. Let's go back to reflectivity, Josh. I just want to take an overview real quick of what's going on because again, we've got thunder even here at our studios. And like I mentioned, we're further up. We're just north of downtown there along the Stemmons corridor. And so we'll go back to reflectivity and then we'll zoom it out. Let's go and zoom this out. This is a nasty cell coming into Dallas County. And so what it is, so we're hearing some of this. So this is all just kind of, you can see kind of merging all around. But again, two concerns right now. Again, we've got Dallas County severe thunderstorm warning. This is a big time Go ahead, Copeland, say that one more time. Copeland said, okay, Copeland's got some other information coming in here as well. He'll tell me what's going on here in just a second. But again, so we've got one big time hailstorm currently moving through Dallas County. And then again, we've got another hailstorm essentially pushing through portions of Kaufman and eventually even back over towards the Zandt County area as well. This one down here that's on the warm front, we continue to have to watch this one. You can see there's a little bit more in the way of curvature to this one, and so it's even developing some inflow that we've got to watch here too. Again, this one is in the tornado watch. And again, I also hear a new warning coming in, Copeland. Let us know what's going on with that. And then again, over here in Dallas County, the main concern with that one is just large hail. Let's quickly come back over here to Dallas County, if we can, Josh. And like I said, we've just got several things going on. So if you're outside of these two areas right now, you don't have a warning in your area, right? So as warnings happen, again, we'll continue to come around and talk about these. So again, this one, let's do a quick timeline, Josh. And I want to get back down to the one to the south because I think the rotation on the one to the south still at the mid-levels, but it is coming up just some. Any new warning for us? Okay, that's to the south. So yeah, let's do a quick timeline on this one. It's going to be tracking up towards the Forney and up there towards the Heath area, even really eastern portions of Mesquite as well. So it's going to be essentially tracking up towards the 635 LBJ, Balch Springs 554, again eastern portions of Mesquite 603, Forney 610, and again Sunnyvale 611. But heads up, this is a real deal hailstorm, folks. This could easily have golf balls plus, and again in general it's going to be tracking right back over towards the Seagoville area there as well. This is southeastern Dallas County, and again, so this is going to be, if you're in downtown Dallas, again we know there's a lot of people, especially in Dallas, right? The city of Dallas. Maybe you're new here, maybe you've moved and you kind of know Dallas, right? You don't know a lot of these other cities around the county, right? And so again, this is well southeast of downtown Dallas. So downtown Dallas being right there, again uptown obviously, Oak Cliff being back over in here. And so again, even though we have Hutchins, even though we have Lancaster officially in the warning, the main concern, there it is, it's going to be literally moving just due west of the Seagoville area. We've also got a little bit of curvature here. Josh, if we can, let's hit the spin rate, and then I do want to go back down to the south as well. So right now, nothing's sticking out, but again, there is at least some mid-level areas of rotation here too. Let's go to velocities on this one. Let's go to velocities. We're close enough to the radar site that we can at least take a look at the raw wind data. And you know, let's take just one, we'll zoom in just a little bit closer on this one, Josh, there towards the Seagoville area. We're still picking up on this mid-level area spin, and whenever we're talking about mid-level areas of spin, it goes on to produce larger hail, right? So the reason why the hail stones, they're suspended in the air and they spin around, and I know that kind of sounds random, but they'll spin around and get bigger until they finally get too big and they drop down. But we've just got this mid-level area spin. Right now, this is nothing concerning as far as anything more than hail, right? As far as anything more than hail, it's nothing concerning, but that's also tracking off to the northeast. But this is something we're also going to be watching there as well, that mid-level area spin. Again, this is southeastern Dallas County. This is our warning here. While we're here, let's go back over to Joe. I think I hear Joe. And let's take a look at his live video again. Then we'll go back down to the south. And I see Joe's video. Let's go to Joe's video. Joe, tell us where you are exactly now and go ahead and give us an update. We've got this mid-level area spin, and I see a little bit, I see some scud cloud, but I may see an inflow tail there too, Joe. Give us an update on this.
So yeah, William, I'm east of I-45, northeast of Ferris. A lot of hail that's already on the ground that has fallen. Some of it looks like snow on some people's roofs. Quite a bit of hail has dropped. Most of it's small. It's, probably dime, nickels, maybe a few quarters in there. Work our way with this storm and kind of stay with it.
Okay, Joe, and sorry, we were just looking over some new information here too. And again, as far as just the structure of the storm, again, I'm just zooming in here with the different radar. What are you seeing with the structure? Again, kind of in front of you, we see a little bit of scud cloud activity. We've got at least some mid-level areas of spin here on radar. As far as the structure goes, are you seeing any indications of mid-level spin or, again, anything from your, really years of experiencing storm chasing that looks anything more concerning than just hail at this point?
Well, right now, you can see on the video, there is some scud cloud that's kind of hanging down. It's not attached to the cloud above it. I'm not seeing any rotation or anything or any wall cloud activity where I'm at. Other than that, just like I said, it's just a scud, and it does look like the storm may be intensifying on radar. And so we're trying to get up here, see if we can get a little better look, because a lot of what we're seeing is got the rain in front of us that's blocking that area rotation from our view. So we're going to try to work our way over there and get in there and see if we can see some of that. And if we see anything, we'll get back with you. Thank you, William.
Okay, Joe, let's really keep our eyes on this one, and we're going to come back over to radar here just real quickly, and we'll just, let's see, yeah, we'll just, okay, and I've got the radar here. We'll keep our eyes on that one, and we're going to zoom in just one more time, and I think Joe's video is maybe just kind of timing out there momentarily. So we've got this cell. And again, Josh, I'll let you kind of work the radar. Yeah, you've got it there. I was just looking at a different radar source here too. And so, of course, we've got our storm trackers in the field. They're looking things over. You can see the mid-level area spin. We're going to come to this cell over here momentarily as well. But even as I'm looking at the other radar, again, we continue to watch the mid-level areas of spin. Mid-level spin is not concerning. The only time it gets concerning is if it does continue to work its way down the cloud base. And right now, that's not happening. But we want to watch this carefully, right? Whenever you have severe thunderstorm watches, tornado watches in effect, you've got to do your due diligence, and you've got to watch these second by second and watch for any changes, because things can happen fast, as we all know. Spin rate, again, also showing us that mid-level area spin, dark green. Again, if we get brighter greens, reds, I know that sounds basic, but that's how you read this thing here. That's when you watch them more closely and a little more carefully. Okay, so that's what's happening in southeastern Dallas County, and in fact, the hail core's come down just a notch from where it is, but the hail core's right over Seagoville, and in fact there may be an opportunity of some golf balls in Seagoville. I'm watching Joe's video for any changes. So let's go back over to normal radar mode, and what I want to do is I want to go back down to the south. I don't want to forget about our friends down in Kaufman County because that storm down there is quite severe too. And again, the one in Kaufman County continues to ride the warm front. It's this one here. And again, any storms along the warm front, you really have to watch carefully. And again, you can almost see this more of a supercell look with this one here, right? This is still mid-level areas of spin, but look at this hail core. If you have a weather radar and you see black on the weather radar, you already know there's big hail, there's probably problems, right? But when the black goes to white, that really gets your attention there. So let's go and zoom in on this a little bit more carefully here. So this is north of Gun Barrel City, and so this is essentially right on the Kaufman County line. This is just south of Interstate 20. This will eventually head up towards Interstate 20 here. But I want to take a look at this hail core. Let's go to the hail core tracker, Josh, and this is due north of Ma Bank, right? But we've got a hook developing on this one now pretty quickly, and we'll go and sample some of this. And again, we're getting near golf balls out of this one here as well, coming in. And sorry, I was just looking at something else there as well. So we're getting near golf balls just north of a Ma Bank. And like I mentioned, that is going to be tracking up towards Interstate 20. There's the Canton area. And so again, the spin rate product here, Josh, great job on that. But again, right now, we're still only seeing that mid-level area spin. Let's go back to base reflectivity here quickly too. And so again, you see the hook, and the reason why we're watching this one carefully, not only is it within the tornado warning, but it's also essentially riding the warm front boundary. And anytime these cells ride a boundary, you have to watch for some fast changes to it. And right now, that's what we're watching for here. But at least right now, nothing overly concerning sticking out. Again, here is that broad area spin. This is base velocity. This is just the raw wind data coming in here. And again, we've got some fairly, so the radar site we're looking at is over here in Fort Worth, right? So green is towards the radar. So this is the inflow. See that bright green? So the hook that's coming around, this is the strong inflow into the storm. So the storm is healthy. It's inflow dominant. We've got strong wind coming into it. And so this is the wraparound, right? The area of spin, the red, which would be away from the radar side, so that's spinning back around. But notice how the spin back is not as impressive, right? Because it hasn't worked its way down from the mid-levels or from the cloud base. That may or may not happen, right? Most likely it won't happen. We're just watching this carefully, again, because we have the tornado watch in effect and it's riding that warm front. But this is how you analyze these storms in real time, again, with live radar. So this is what we're looking at here very carefully. But again, this storm quite inflow dominant, and again, it's feeding on all that warm, moist air that again is coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. So this one we're really watching, and again with that mid-level mesocyclone, again that's one of the reasons why we have that big hail core. But again, the inflow we were talking about, there's the notch right there. Think of this as a mouth. It's breathing in right into that notch all that warm air, so it's sucking it on in, but it's just not really spinning it back around. Let's go to the hail core tracker one more time here. And again, this is north of Ma Bank. And again, it's going to be due south of Interstate 20. Copeland, let us know if that was anything for us. I just heard the warning go off. Let's go and sample this again. And again, the hail size is getting bigger. I think there's golf balls here. And even though this is probably going to present a little bit bigger than that, and I'm looking at Joe's video coming in. Joe, tell me just real quick in my ear, Joe, do you have anything there? I'm seeing a rain-free base off in the distance. Do you have anything? Hey, Copeland, if we can, Joe, give us 1 second.
Lowering wall clouds, anything of that nature.
Okay.
Got a hail core off to my left. I can kind of see the hail shaft coming out of the cloud, probably coming into Seagleville now. Outside of that, that's where I'm at. I'm going to try to get up here and see if we got any hail on the ground once we get close to Seagleville. Back to you, William.
Joe, and we're just looking over some new data coming in here as well. Now, again, this is the Dallas, Southeastern Dallas County storm. And so, again, right now, yeah, I'm just looking at that over here on radar 2. And I'm just looking at some other stuff coming in over here as well. So again, we don't want to confuse the two separate storms, but again, that is the Southeastern Dallas County storm. That's also the other big hailer that we're watching here too. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye, but again, right now, nothing overly concerning. But again, you can see, you can see a base. There is a mid-level area spin, and this is the info cloud. Joe, go ahead, give us a report. I was looking at some new data coming in, and so as we're looking at this, I'm seeing to your camera right, we've got a fairly vigorous inflow cloud coming into this. Again, we've got a decent rain-free base. I'm not necessarily seeing any mid-level striation here, but again, as you're looking at this in real time, again, there's nothing ominous on radar with this either, but what are you seeing one more time there from your location?
So we're coming into Seagleville now, and that rain-free base you're seeing, I'm starting to see what looks like what they call a clear slot. That's usually kind of indication that we do have some rotation. And I'm looking back to behind me, and I do see looks like some scud hanging down somewhat. I can't tell if anything's rotating. I was going to pull up here and turn around and take a quick look at it and see if there's anything coming up from behind me. I was kind of more focused on getting up here where the hail core was at. But I'm not seeing anything lowering wise, anything rotating or anything like that. Just still watching to see kind of where the hail core is at and where the like you said, the striations and stuff, see if you see anything moving around and rotating. But outside of that, I'm not seeing anything looking tornadic or anything over here. Back to you, William.
Joe, we got our eyes on that again. That's Southeastern Dallas County. Let's come back over to radar. Let's come back over to radar here just real quick, and we'll go and do one more overview. I just don't want to confuse these two storms, right? And so this one is the one over by Seagoville. This is far southeastern Dallas County. That's the one Joe was on there. And again, we've had a little bit of mid-level rotation. And even though as we go through the evening, you're going to hear me say mid-level rotation a lot, completely different than low-level rotation, right? So low-level rotation, that's red flag. That means we may have problems, right? But mid-level, not necessarily. A lot of times mid-level just goes on to produce big hail, and that's what we've had so far. But again, you can see the curvature of this storm. Very same, what we were talking about earlier with the inflow, with this one, same thing. It's breathing in a lot of warm, moist air. And again, you can kind of see this little baby hook right there around the Seagoville area. Again, it's not low-level rotation, it's mid-level, but that's why that hail core we've been talking about is right over Seagoville. Let's zoom in one more time on this, Josh, and let's go over to the hail core tracker. But again, take a look at this. And again, this is, it looks like a hook echo, but again, this is mainly just an inflow dominant storm, and there's no immediate opportunity of any low-level spin. But let's sample this. Again, this is easily still at least quarters to $50 here. And again, it's moving right through the Seagoville area. And so again, we're getting 1.2. So again, we're getting quarters right around $50. It's essentially right there along Interstate 20 now. It's due south of Forney. But again, this hail core is going to be tracking up towards the Forney area as well. Let's also quickly, Josh, let's go ahead and hit the spin rate, the mesocyclone spin rate. And again, you only see this on Texas Weather Tracker TV here in the Metroplex. And again, where you're seeing the dark green, if you ever see dark green on this, that is okay. That means mid-level spin and nothing has worked its way down. And so all as well. But again, if you start seeing some bright greens, reds, or yellows, that's when it's a different story. So right now, even though we have a mid-level area spin, all is well currently, again, with this cell. Okay, so we're going to break from this one that, again, is in southeastern Dallas County, and I want to come back over to what we have going on over here in Kaufman County, basically right on the Kaufman County line. And so go ahead, Josh.
Sirens due to the large hail threat.
Okay, so southeastern portions of the city of Dallas, they're sounding the sirens because of the large hail threat. Now, I can tell you, the main hail threat, it's gone from southeastern Dallas County. So again, if you're hearing sirens in southeastern Dallas County, we may center this up quickly here, Josh, just to kind of pass that along. So here's Dallas. There's downtown Dallas, Interstate 45. 35E, there's Interstate 30, there's Interstate 20. So this activity from Dallas proper, so the southeastern portion of Dallas, the city, sounding the sirens, again, the hail threat is well to the east, and it continues to lift off northeast, right? So again, if you're hearing sirens, again, right now, I can tell you all is well in the southeastern portions of Dallas City proper, right? Again, all this activity, it's now well to the east. And again, we've got a big hail core, we've got the hook, and we're going to be watching that one. But right now, everything with that storm is mid-level. If it stays mid-level, again, the only thing we have to worry about is hail. And again, we can go on, no problems, right? So we'll watch that one carefully because it does still look fairly dynamic. The one I'm watching even a little more carefully than that one, let's come back down here to the southeast if we can. And again, this is the one, it's now north of the warm front, but this is the one that had been riding the warm front. And this is also tracking up towards Interstate 20. And it's going to be just south of the Wills Point area. There's the Edgewood area. There's also Canton. And again, take a look at the hail core on this one. Again, the black going to white. And Copeland, let us know if you have anything new in there coming in as well. Copeland right in the Storm Studios. Okay, so it's on some activity south of our coverage area. So let's go to the hail core tracker on this one. And again, this will also be lifting along Interstate 20. So again, really travel eastbound out of Dallas County along Interstate 20, not recommended, at least over the next little while. We have two pretty impressive hail cores moving through the area. So again, even though this one continues to show, again, 2.4, I don't think it's quite that big. But again, is there an opportunity of golf ball size hail here? And again, the answer to that is yes. There is some big hail associated with this one here. And again, in general, again, Edgewood, even up towards the Wills Point area, that's where this hail core is going to be lifting. Let's do a timeline on this real quick if we can, Josh. And again, we'll do a timeline on estimated time of arrival just with that hail core. You may get some precipitation or something ahead of that, but again, we're only talking about just the hail core associated with that one. And then, like I said, we'll get back to Joe and his video there in southeastern Dallas County too. Yeah, just take it all the way up there to Edgewood. It may only populate. It's pretty rural through there, and so it's not even populating a city. I don't think you even hit Edgewood, but that's okay. So it's lifting to the northeast, and again, it's going to be tracking up towards Willows Point and Edgewood. That's over the next 20 minutes or so. It didn't populate any cities because there's essentially no cities in between there. So you actually would have had to have hit Edgewood to even populate that. Again, this is a pretty rural area that we're talking about right here. Here's another look at that spin rate product, and again, it's all dark green. So again, in general, no concerns other than mid-level rotation with this one right now. And again, just that hail threat. Again, that's going to be the main thing we're watching with this one. There is that area spin. Let's take this in just a little bit tighter if we can, Josh. And so again, the good news is, like I mentioned, this one continues to be inflow dominant. Now, that also means that this one is not weakening, and there's not going to be necessarily any fast changes as far as a weakening trend goes. Anytime these storms are inflow dominant, that means they continue to breathe in warm, moist air. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're just now joining us, the radar site's over around the Fort Worth area, right? So it's off to the west. What this green means, that means wind towards the radar. So we have higher velocity wind breathing into the storm, tracking towards that radar site, right? And then the red is coming back around. But again, you can see the spin back around is not very impressive. And again, so that's why all of that essentially remains at the mid-level. So again, this is a mid-level mesocyclone. And again, right now, the main concern with that does continue to be hail. Let's do this. Let's come back over to base radar. And then I want to come back. I'm looking at Joe's video. I want to come back into Dallas County. And so we'll go back to base radar, then we'll take it back over into Dallas County, and then we'll take a look at Joe and see exactly what he has, and we'll zoom back in. And so this is the overview. Again, across North Texas, again, we have a tornado watch in effect. It's the counties in green. This is south of the Metroplex, and again, this is until 10 p.m. this evening. And then we do have the Metroplex and all of our counties to the north, up near the Red River. Those are under a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. this evening as well. And again, we're going to be watching all of this activity activity as we go through the evening. Again, we're anticipating additional thunderstorms, and like I mentioned, any of the storms that form this evening, there is an opportunity of severe weather. Again, the main concern is hail up to the size of golf balls, and then again, number 2 would be an opportunity in the tornado watch of some isolated tornadic activity. Number 3 again would be winds 60-65 miles per hour, and then again overnight an opportunity of heavier rain. I want to come back into Dallas County, then I want to get back to Joe's video quickly and get a report from Joe. And this cell over here, it's really north of the Seagoville area. Let's go over to Joe's video. That looked like it had weakened some, but the mid-level mesocyclone is definitely still there. Joe, tell us where you are now, and go and give us another update on this cell.
So we are north of Seagoville, kind of north and east of it. Just kind of tracking this storm. It does look like it is weakening a little bit. I'm not seeing the big hail or the big hail shafts that I've seen earlier coming out of it. Right now we are coming up on, it looks like I-20, getting kind of close to that. And this storm looks like it's going to track up toward Forney. So we're kind of making a decision whether or not we want to stay with this one if it's weakening, or if we want to jump on I-20 and try to head toward Canton and try to, see how this other one out here, it seems a little more intense, is doing. Outside of that, nothing really out here, just some wet roads. Not even really any high winds or anything to speak of out of this storm cell where we're at. Outside of that, everything out here is pretty calm. Thank you, William.
Okay, Joe, really appreciate that update. And also, I want to check in, and we'll leave the video up here for just 1 second. I know Copeland Wright's been looking over some additional details, but Copeland, go and tell us what's coming in new here to the storm studios.
So yeah, we're still watching the severe thunderstorm warning for Dallas and Rockwall County until 6:45 here across North Texas, and so that is still up. And then we're also still watching that, like you said, that mid-level rotation down near Maybank. They're watching that to see if that's still a persistent rotation there, and so it could be a tornado threat, and so they're continuing to watch that. No warning gets coming out of that storm, but we are still watching that for potential tornado threat out of that.
Copeland right here in the Storm Studios. Also Joshua Weisel on radar. Of course, I'm William Cole, and then we've got team of trackers. We've got Joe and Melissa. We've got Brian Milan out as well. We've also got Chantel Zuber. She's out to the west. So we've got the team spread across. And again, simply put, this is how we cover severe weather. We don't just show you radar because radar only tells half of the story, as we all know, right? We need our trackers out. We need the live video. We need the live reports to know exactly what's going on. And again, the team we've got here of storm trackers in the field, Texas's #1 team of storm trackers. This is what they do, and again, they're always bringing you the live video, whether it's severe weather or winter weather, as we know over the last month and a half or so too. But okay, let's go back over to radar. And again, like I mentioned, we've got Joshua Weisel on radar. We'll go and take another overview and see what's going on. So this is a cell that's moving out of Dallas County and had been pushing over into portions of Kaufman County. And so we'll come back over to radar quickly here. And as we do that, either Joshua or Copeland, either or, if we can get back to radar. There we go. Okay, so let's go back to radar. Okay, so this was the cell that Joe was talking about. And again, this one had ramped up as it moved through Dallas County. It seems like we always say that. Whenever a storm moves through Dallas County, it ramps up. For whatever reason, it ramps up. This one did the same thing. And in fact, there was some, at least near the way it looked, as it was in far southeastern Dallas County, southeast of Seagoville. Not impossible. Maybe you've had some golf balls. It is weakening now, but we do still have a hail core. If we can, let's go and zoom back in on that. And again, it's going to be right there just north of Interstate 20. And if we can, we'll zoom back in on this one here. And again, either or, Joshua or Copeland, either or. I know they both have the radar input. If we can just either or. And I think if we can, yeah, there we go. So we'll just zoom on in. Let's just go and take it. Yeah, let's go and take it right on in. And so it's going to be just east of the Mesquite area. And so there's a Mesquite right there. Of course, there's a 635 LBJ. So really, it's back over here towards the Forney area. Now, here's the one thing I can tell you. The hail core is getting smaller, and here's the reason why. As we were talking about this earlier, the hail core is getting quite a bit smaller. This is the reason why. Of course, earlier we had the inflow notch, right? We had the big hook coming around. There was not an immediate tornado threat with it, but it was breathing in all the warm, moist air, right? But that same inflow notch, it's now got what we call precipitation debris, right? So there's rain falling into that, and that's actually cooling the air as the rain falls. So as opposed to just breathing in all this warm, moist air that was feeding on, again, we had the mid-level mesocyclone, we had the larger hail falling. Well, now again, you see that precipitation debris in there, then it's not getting that clean fetch of warm, moist air coming in. So the mesocyclone at the mid-levels is also weakening, and well, the hail core is getting quite a bit smaller now too. Let's go back to the hail core tracker quickly. And of course, that's obviously good news for the folks there in the Forney area as it's moving on through. So this was the same one, again, as it was moving through southeastern portions of Dallas County, it was up to near golf balls. Now as it's over here around the Forney area, this is maybe dimes, nickels. We can sample this, Josh, but it's maybe some dimes, maybe some nickels. Again, it's much smaller. In fact, it's technically even below severe levels now. That's maybe some dimes, right? That's half-inch hail right there. So really not as big of a deal for sure. Again, there's still some heavy rain, there's still some vivid lightning. There may still be some winds to near 50 miles per hour. And again, that does continue to lift off to the north towards the Heath area, Rockwall, and if it does hold together, even back up towards the Royce City area, of course, that being Interstate 30 right there. But again, this one here, even though it ramped up pretty good, it does continue to weaken currently. So we'll continue to track the trend on that one, but that one nowhere near where it was earlier. I want to come back down a little bit further to the southeast here, and I want to take a look at this other cell that continued to look. And this one here continues to look very impressive, obviously. And I've said this a couple times, whenever you see black on a weather radar, you know you've got problems, typically meaning some hail. And so let's go in a little bit tighter. This one's right over Interstate 20. And so this is just south of Wills Point. It's going to be just west of Canton. And this is a really rural area, but again, it's out directly over Interstate 20. And we may center this up just a little bit more, Josh. This is going to be tracking up towards the Edgewood area. But let's go to the hail core tracker on this one here too. And we'll also go and sample it. And again, here's the inflow notch on that one, right? So that was the warm, moist air coming in. And we need to center this up just a little bit, Josh, if you can. Bring the hail core up more into the middle of the screen. Just kind of pull it up. There you go. No, pull it up. Just pull it north. Pull it north if you can. And so there we go. And so we'll go and take a look. We'll sample some of this as well. It's always hard because the way the radar on the screen does not look the exact same as it looks here. So even though it may be centered on the screen that Josh is looking at, it's not centered up here. So that's why we always sometimes have to say center it up, meaning it's different than what it looks on your screen. It's kind of a little technical insight there. But anyway, so we've got 2.5-inch hail. It's probably still a little bit smaller than this, but probably still some golf balls. Not impossible. This is a real deal hailstorm here. It has been since it initially formed down around the Corsicana area. And so again, mesoscan showing 2.5, maybe some 2-inch. Again, most likely some golf balls here. And again, like I mentioned, that's going to be crossing Interstate 20. Of course, there's the Canton area, there's the Edgewood area. So again, this storm here is still quite severe. The other one is weakening, but this one is still quite severe. Let's go to the spin rate. And yeah, Josh, if you want to go and do a timeline on that, tracking up there towards Edgewood. And so again, we're talking about 6:36 p.m. Over towards the Edgewood area. And there's just kind of the latest scan coming in. There's the spin rate. Again, everything's still mid-level, so no concerns. Dark green is mid-level. When you start getting brighter greens or yellows, that's when it becomes a little more concerning. Let's also go over to, let's just go to the velocity, the live, the raw data, if we can. And then we'll be checking back in with Joe momentarily as well. But again, here is still that broad area spin, right? It's still at the mid-levels. So the green is air coming into the storm. It's moving westbound. And then red is coming back around. And again, the one thing I'm noticing, and we'll see if this trend does hold here, the one thing you always look at for a healthy storm, it really has to breathe in the air, right? You need the brighter greens coming in. That means it's feeding on warm, moist air, and the storm is stable. It may strengthen, but it's typically not going to weaken. But whenever a storm becomes a little more outflow dominant, even especially these kind of quasi-supercells like this, you can see the area of red coming out of it there. It's breathing out. And again, that may be a bit of a weakening trend. We'll see if that holds. But again, this one breathing in less, but again, it's kind of releasing, for lack of a better word, again, some higher velocity winds out. So we'll see if there's any change with that. But let's also, Josh, let's go to the hail history with this one. I know it'll take the computer just a second to load up because there's a lot with this one. Then we'll get back over to Joe coming up momentarily too. So this is the hail swath history, and you have to be paid because it's had a long history here. So the computer is going to try and load it up, and it's going to show us the hail swath. There it is, coming out of Corsicana. So take a look at this, and we'll center this one up again, Josh. Let's center both of those up because we've got the two swaths, right? So this storm, it formed down near Corsicana. So this is the hail history, right? You only see this here on Texas Weather Tracker TV. This is where the hail has fallen, and then also the intensity of it, right? So this is where the storm really kind of got going down around Corsicana. You see it kind of lifted up towards the Gun Barrel City area. There was an opportunity of some quarters, maybe some half dollars, but again, here as it got back over here towards Van Zandt County and portions of Kaufman County, you can see it really intensified there. And again, you can see that's where we have the darker area purple, and that's where we've had that opportunity of maybe some half dollars, maybe some golf balls. And again, essentially that's where we are now. And again, we'll see what changes with that storm. So that's our severe storm we've been watching. And then there's that one over in Dallas County we were watching earlier. You can see it intensified right as it moved into southeastern Dallas County, moved up over Seagoville, and then it weakened as it crossed over Interstate 20. So again, that one still continues in a weakening phase there as well. Okay, let's go back over to live radar. And I know Joe is still in that storm over there. I'm looking at his video, and we'll check back in with him. Let's do an overview real quick. Let's just show North Texas in an overview, Josh. You may just hit that. And as we do that, again, most locations currently not seeing any severe weather, right? So we've got a tornado watch in effect for the counties in green until 10 p.m. It's from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex to the south. For the counties in the Metroplex, Tarrant, Dallas, Denton, Collin County, we have a severe thunderstorm watch also until 10 p.m. And again, that goes all the way up towards our Red River counties. Again, even back over towards the east, Fannin, Lamar County, up towards Paris included in that as well. Also down through Hunt County, Greenville, also included in that severe thunderstorm watch. And again, the primary concern as we go through the evening, it is going to be, again, up to the hail sizes, up to the sizes of golf balls like we're seeing. And again, also, if you're in the area of green, you need to stay alert. A tornado warning or two, not impossible as we go through the evening. And then, of course, winds up to 60 miles per hour, again, also possible. I want to come back over here towards Kaufman County. I think the storm may have lifted to the north now. It may even be up towards Rockwall or Hunt County. Let's go and zoom in on that one. And that's where I believe Joe is. I'm looking at his video, and I want to get another report from Joe. This is the same cell, and it does have a new little hail core redeveloping. It's lifting here into Rockwall County up towards Interstate 30. But again, this is the one that essentially moved through Dallas County. It weakened, and then it appears as though it's trying to re-intensify as it's moving down to portions of Rockwall County. We may just go back to normal radar mode here. We're not seeing much there on the hail core tracker, but again, we were getting just a bit of an area of black right there. So we may be trying to redevelop a hail core, again, just south of Interstate 30. Again, we've got Joe there on the scene. I believe he's still on that cell. I'm looking at his video. If we can, let's go over to Joe's video and let him tell us where he is, and we'll go and get a live report from Joe.
Okay, hey, William, yeah, so I peeled off of that storm. The road network got a little curvy, and I felt like we were starting to lose it. It was kind of getting away from us. So we went ahead and opted to hop on Interstate 20 with the big hail. We're wanting to go over there and kind of look at that and see what the hail looks like coming out of that. Right now, you got wet roads on I-20. There's a few, a couple of storm cells that passed over to the east of the initial storm I was following. Outside of that, it's just pretty much just rain, no wind, no lightning that I see over here. But we're about 20 miles away from the other storm cell, and so once we get there, we'll hopefully bring some video of some of those we got going on in that storm. Thank you, William.
I think we're going to get your video punched up here. I don't know if we got your video punched up or not, but we'll try. I think me and Josh are fighting over the same system here, not on purpose, but I think we're both hitting the same inputs. But we'll get Joe's video up again. He's right there on it, and again we'll be talking with Joe again, like I mentioned, coming up here momentarily. So okay, let's do this. Let's go and zoom out again. And again, the good news is, let's take a look at this. In fact, we've got a little bit of new activity coming up over here in the Metroplex. Again, right now, none of this obviously severe, but we do have a little bit of heavy weather coming up. This is over here in Tarrant County, over around the Mansfield area. And as we take a look at this, and I think what we've done, Josh, I think we've drug the other program into the other window, and so we're just kind of doing something here in real time. And so I think that's why we can't get that drug back over. So that's okay. So we'll just leave this here for now. But let's go and take a look at what we have going on here, because again, you can see we do have this new cell that again is just kind of coming up. And again, this is over here in Tarrant County. And Josh, I'll give you the radar back there. But again, that's what's happened is we've got that other pane over in the other window. So like I mentioned, just kind of a little bit of a technical talk there. We've all kind of got the same inputs around here, and we can all kind of do the same thing. Typically, that's a good thing. But I think, like I mentioned today, we were kind of fighting over that same input. Again, not on purpose. I'm just looking at Joe's video. We'll try and get that up again coming up momentarily. But again, this is here now in the Metroplex. Again, this is not severe, but again, this is a heavier storm. Again, with heavier rain right now currently. Interstate 20, Interstate 30. There's the Arlington area. There's GP back over towards the Grand Prairie area. And again, you see that opportunity of at least some heavy currently just heavier rain, again, tracking up there towards the Interstate 30 area. So let's do this. Copeland, I know you've been monitoring the weather wire where we just have a bit of a lull in the action here. Go ahead and tell us what's gathering off the weather wire and go and give us an update on that.
Yeah, William, we're still tracking that severe thunderstorm warning that's moving into Hunt, Kaufman, and Rockwall County, and that is still in effect until 6:45 this evening, and that's due to some damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. And then, like you mentioned, they do have 1-inch hail. And then also we received reports from Canton over in Van Zandt County. They have been seeing some golf ball size hail, and they are still looking at that broad rotation over in Van Zandt County as well. It's still broad. It's not as defined as it was previously, so that's the good news that it's kind of weakened a little bit, but that broad rotation still does persist, so we're still going to continue to watch that to see if anything develops out of that cell.
Okay, all right, really appreciate that update. And so again, I was just looking over some new data coming in as well. So again, the good news is we just only continue with that one severe thunderstorm warning. It's primarily over in Van Zandt County now. Copeland, what was that warning? Do you have that? We've had so much going on here, but that warning over in Van Zandt County, how much longer was that? What was the time on that, rather?
That is until 6:30, so about 11 more minutes for Kaufman and Van Zandt County.
Still the big hailstorm over there. That one will probably be continued. Okay, let's zoom this out if we can. So we're watching this cell. Again, it's here in the Metroplex. Right now, we're just talking about mainly heavy rain. And again, it's right there along Interstate 20. And so again, you see all of this activity lifting to the north. And again, as we go over the next couple hours, you're seeing all of this to the south will continue. There's an opportunity, at least, of it continuing to intensify and again, continue to lift off to the north there. Again, here are the two warnings that we currently have. And again, really the only one we're technically concerned about with right now, the only one that's really at those severe levels, it's this one over here, primarily in Van Zandt County. Let's come back over to this one here quickly, Josh, and then we'll come back up to Rockwall County. And again, that's where we have Joe. And again, like I mentioned, we'll take another look at Joe's video coming up momentarily. This is the hailstorm. I mean, take a look at this thing. The black going to white. Look at all that white and gray. Again, anytime you're dealing with the weather radar and you're going to black to white, again, you know there's some issues there. And this whole cell, I mean, just looking at this here, this is almost what you would call a pancake supercell. If you're out in the Texas Panhandle, you get things that look like this. These are called pancake supercells. They look like a pancake, but they kind of have a hook there on the back side of it. Now, right now, even though it does have a hook on it, the only thing that's really concerning, it's still just the mid-level rotation, which is giving us this tremendous hail core. Let's go in a little bit closer on this. So this is going to be, the good news is this is northwest of Canton. So again, it's staying out of Canton proper, but this is, man, oh man, it's tracking right up towards the Edgewood area. And so again, that right there still continues to look pretty concerning. Let's go back over to the hail core tracker if we can, Josh.
Yeah, and William, that particular cell that you're looking at right now, the NWS says they're looking at it and it's starting to ramp up a little bit, and so they're looking at tornado potential from that cell.
Okay, and that's great information. Let's go over to the spin rate. So there's the hail core right there. We've still got golf balls plus, and it's right over Interstate 20 now, unfortunately. So the spin rate, right now the spin rate looking okay, but let's go over to the velocities. Let's go and take a look at just the raw data within the storm here too. Again, the mesocyclone spin rate, nothing crazy sticking out, but again, here is the area spin, right? So the green towards the radar, red away from the radar, and here's two things you always want to watch for, right? When you have only bright green, that means it's inflow dominant. And again, a lot of times that means you've got a healthy storm, it's living, it's breathing, and again, a lot of times it's going to be intensifying. If you only have bright red, that means it's outflow inflow dominant, means it's kind of breathing out a little bit, and you would normally anticipate a weakening trend. If you begin to get a mesocyclone that has bright red and bright green, that means it's going a little more gate to gate, and it may be trying to, for lack of a better word, kind of energize a little bit. And again, you can really just see here, just within the last few minutes, again, this is what we call a couplet now, and so this couplet is becoming a little more pronounced. And again, the wind away and the wind coming back in, the gate to gate motion here is becoming a little more enhanced. It's still not crazy, but again, this is one of the reasons why we have that really big hail core. Let's Josh, if we can, let's step this back maybe two frames, and let's just look at this over the last 5 minutes, if we can do that. So let's pause it right there. Well, I tell you what, we've had a couple of these here, but again, you can see this gate to gate. This is over the last 5 minutes. There's been a definite notated change in this. This isn't necessarily tight coming together, but again, the inflow is strong, and again, yes, even the outbound there is strong as well. So it's not necessarily tight. It's not overly concerning, but there's definitely been a change in this over the last 5 minutes. And let's put it back into live, and then let's also go back over to our mesocyclone spin rate quickly too, and let us know, Copeland, if that was anything for us just coming out. Okay, still down south. Okay. And so what we're looking at here, and let us know if that was anything as well, by the way. Sorry to keep break. It's still down south. Okay, cool. And so, okay, so right here, mesocyclone spin rate, again, even though this looks just like a green blob, we use this. And again, this is something you only see here on Texas Weather Tracker TV, here in the Metroplex. Dark green typically means okay. It still means just the mid-level area spin. It means watch it carefully, but again, once we start getting some brighter greens and some red showing up, again, that is when it becomes just a little more concerning. Let's also, Josh, quickly, let's go over to the rotation history on this, and we're just going to use another product just real quickly here and to take a look at that. And while Josh is doing that, I'm actually coming over to the other radar here, just looking at one other thing here too. And even looking at the spin rate here, everything essentially looking the same. So again, yeah, as we're looking at the mesocyclone spin rate and even the history of this, again, like I mentioned, we're watching it, but it's not sticking out overly concerning. I was just looking at something else there as well. Okay, so let's go back to normal radar. We're watching the cell again from Canton, Wills Point, and then eventually it's going to continue lifting to the north there towards the Edgewood area, right? So we've got our eyes on it. This is a real deal hail storm, and again, there's easily an opportunity for larger than golf ball size hail, again, showing up with that one there. Okay, so let's go and zoom out. Let's come back over to the Metroplex quickly. And again, we had that one shower, that heavy shower that was going up. And again, we'll see if there were any changes with that. Again, back over into portions of Tarrant County. And again, we'll check back in with Joe. Joe continues to be on this activity up here. And in fact, let's go and stop right here, Josh. We'll stop here first. We'll come back over to Tarrant County momentarily. This one is showing a little bit of intensification here. It's right over Interstate 20. Let's zoom in on that. And then we'll take a look at Joe's video. Joe, tell us where you are again, and let us know if you're up towards Interstate 30 or Interstate 20, because this activity south of 40 is trying to come up just a little bit now as well.
Right, yeah, I'm actually on 20, and I am approximately 10 miles to the west of Canton. I'm actually closing in on this on the storm cell that's dropping. It's got the big hail core in it. It is showing some signs of rotation on radar, so we're kind of working our way over there toward that, when we should be on top of it here in about 10 minutes. Back to you, William.
Yeah, and we're looking at your video, Joe, and again, we're gonna be taking a look at that again coming up here momentarily as well. So again, that's that cell right there over Forney, and let's see if that was for us. We're getting a couple alerts, but a lot of these have been down to the south of our general coverage area. So let's see, was that still to the south? Okay. And then we're also watching, again, what we have right here in Tarrant County as well. And again, you can see this is tracking up towards Arlington. Now, this isn't severe. Again, this is just a heavy rain that continues to move through there. But again, if you're here in the Metroplex wondering, again, what's going on, again, basically right over towards the Dallas-Tarrant County line, which, by the way, is right there. There's GP, Grand Prairie. Again, there's the Arlington area. And again, this would be Interstate 20 here, obviously. But again, we've just got this. Right now, it's just a shower. In fact, there's no lightning even showing up with it. This is just a heavy downpour shower. And again, we'll see if anything changes with this. But again, there's at least heavier rain. Again, for those interested in this area, obviously, it's going to continue lifting up to the north, basically up the George Bush Turnpike there. Hey, let's zoom this out just a little bit, Josh, if we can. And not too much. In fact, let's try and keep. This is going to be moving up towards the mid cities area, and we'll go in just a little bit tighter. But again, this is going to be moving up towards the mid cities. It's going to be tracking over towards the Irving area. And again, right now, like I mentioned, this is just rain. In fact, there's nothing even severe with this at all, or even heavy, or even lightning associated with this one. Again, this is just kind of just right now a band of heavy rain, if you will. But again, conditions are at least possible for severe weather out of any of these. So that's why we want to keep our eyes on it. But also for the densely populated Metroplex here, you're getting some heavy rain. You're also probably wondering what's going on, right? So again, essentially moving through the Grand Prairie area now. Euless up towards the mid-cities. Again, 636. The Irving Mall right there on 183, about 642. Then even up towards DFW, up towards the big airport there, by 647. But again, right now it's just rain. And again, if anything does change with that, of course, we're going to let you know in an instant. But again, right now, just a heavy shower, and we've got one strike of lightning now showing up with it. But again, changes, we'll let you know. Okay, so we'll clear that off, and let's go and kind of just zoom out to the Metroplex as a whole while we're over in here. And again, just to show everybody what's going on. And again, so for everyone interested, what's happening right now in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the Metroplex essentially quiet. Again, we just have this one heavy shower lifting to the north. Again, it's really not even a thunderstorm. It had one strike of lightning, just heavy rain, right? Again, there's Denton County, there's Collin County, Dallas County, Tarrant County. So again, everything right now pretty quiet. Again, outside of that, just heavier rain shower moving through. So everything A-OK here in the Metroplex right now. Now we're under a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. And again, things can change. And they did change earlier in southeastern Dallas County. Again, we had that one hailstorm move through. We'll look at the hail history coming up. But again, that storm is now basically the storm that moved through southeastern Dallas County. It's actually up here along Interstate 30, but just behind it, we're watching this other cell here on Interstate 20. Both of those are still technically under a severe thunderstorm warning, and again, there may be an opportunity of some quarter-size hail. Now, okay, tornado warning. Let's go back over to this cell. This is the one that was really energizing, and we've got a new tornado warning coming out. And Copeland, let us know the time on that when you get it there. And so this is north of Canton. The good news is it's north of Interstate 20. It's north of Canton, but again, it's going to be tracking over towards the Edgewood area. Let's zoom this in a little bit tighter, Josh, if we can. And so this is going to be a new tornado warning. Okay, and it's going to be until 7 p.m. Here as well. So again, new tornado warning, and it's essentially going to be tracking up towards Edgewood. This is going to be the area of concern right back in here. If we can, Josh, let's go to the velocities. And so obviously the red blinking box, this is going to be the tornado warning box. And again, it's like I mentioned, even though it does include the Canton area, the main area spin is going to be just north of Canton. The main area spin, it's going to come pretty close there to the Edgewood area. The good news is you never want a tornado warning, but if you were going to have a tornado warning in a kind of rural area, that's the best case scenario. And again, we don't want anyone to get hit. We don't ever want a tornado warning. We all understand that. But this is in a really open area. And so that's at least one piece of good news. But again, Edgewood, you still need to be taking your tornado precautions. And even back over through Grand Saline, tornado precautions there too. Technically, Canton, you are in the tornado warning. So again, you've also got to be taking those tornado precautions. This is wrapping up fairly quickly. And let's go and take this in just a little bit tighter here if we can, Josh. And then we'll also go over to the spin rate product. But again, also take a look at this. So there's Fruitvale. Let's take this in a little bit closer and see if we can populate any of these other smaller towns just here, just to make sure we don't have any other small communities. But I tell you what, the Fruitvale area, you've got to be taking your immediate tornado precautions. The area spin essentially is tracking right up there through the Fruitvale area. Let's quickly, Josh, if we can, we'll do it. Okay, let's do a time. We can do a timeline, but that's coming into Fruitvale essentially right now. Outside of that, it's in a very open area. So Fruitvale 642, but again, it's essentially coming through right now. Let's come back over to the spin rate. And so keep in mind, this is southeast and east of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, right? So we're essentially out here along Interstate 20. And again, so we're not in the Metroplex. Again, for the folks just now joining us, wondering what's going on, this is Zandt County. And so again, this is going to be east and southeast of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. But again, this red box here, this is where the new tornado warning is. If we can, Josh, just real quickly, again, just so everyone is clear with what's going on, let's hit the watches and the warnings, and we'll just kind of zoom that out and take an overview of that quickly. So again, just to kind of line all this up so everybody knows where we're talking about, we're over here, Van Zandt County, just north of Interstate 20, right? So here's the Metroplex, everything quiet. We've got a heavy shower moving through the Metroplex. No concerns other than a watch currently here. Again, we're still watching over here in Kaufman County with a severe thunderstorm warning there. And then of course over here in Van Zandt County, kind of the far eastern fringes of our coverage area. That's what we're watching with this, again, new tornado warning there until 7 p.m. So let's go and zoom back in on this. We'll go back over to radar and we'll zoom back in. And Copeland, if you have any reports coming in there from the storm studios, feel free to let us know as well. And so it's looking a little more raggedy, just the structure of the storm. But as we go back over to velocities are really sticking out on this. And again, obviously we've got the big hail core. The other concern with this is the big hail. But again, this is what we're concerned about, right? This is the couplet. This is the green area you're seeing is wind westbound, right? It's feeding into the storm, but it's tracking westbound towards the radar site. The problem is here, we've also got wind coming back eastbound. That's the red away from the radar site. So we've got this really broad area of spin that we've been watching, and then the problem is you can see it really beginning to come together now, where before it was kind of diffuse, and at times we had a little more inflow than we really did return flow, and so at times we weren't as concerned, but now that this is kind of equalized, or what we call gate to gate, right? Equal in, equal back around, and again, it's beginning to come together. Now it's looking more concerning for at least some type of tornadic potential, and again, the problem is right now, you can see it currently moving almost the area of spin, the most concerning area here, it's moving almost directly through the Fruitville area. So that's not good. And again, keep in mind, that's a fairly small hometown over there. Again, the warning does include Canton, even though the main area of spin is north of Canton. Canton, you've got to be taking your tornado precautions. Edgewood, but again, especially the Fruitville area there, you've got to be taking, again, those immediate tornado precautions. And even with the new sweep coming in there, again, you really don't see any changes. Again, we've still got strong in, we've still got strong back. And again, it's still the focus, unfortunately. You never like to say where the focus of the rotation is when it's over a hometown, and especially a smaller hometown. And unfortunately, that's where it is, right there in the Fruitville area. So let's go over to the spin rate, and we'll check that quickly. We're getting a little ways away from the radar, so we're not getting a real clean sweep here on the spin rate, only for the fact we're getting a little too far away from the radar site. But let's also come over to the hail core tracker, because again, regardless if we do have a tornado here or not, the other thing we're going to have, it is a very nasty hail core, and this is also going to be essentially tracking right up here towards the Fruitville area too. Let's go and sample some of this here too, Josh, if we can. And again, we're going to see there's at least an opportunity of some golf ball plus size hail. And again, you almost want to say now it is going to be larger than golf balls. Again, the radar is estimating 3.5. And again, I don't think it's at 3.5. I don't think it's that big. But again, we've got some big hail coming in. This will do real damage, and this can also blow out windows and such. So obviously, Fruitville, you're taking your tornado precautions, right? You're not by windows anyway. But again, even if this was coming through without a tornado warning, this size hail, it can definitely blow out some windows. So please keep that in mind. But again, you've got to be taking those immediate tornado precautions. Again, one more time, just to recap, again, this is all well east of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. It's down here along Interstate 20. It's now north of Canton. This is Van Zandt County, and again, we've got this tornado warning coming into it. This is a very small hometown here by the name of Fruitville, and again, this is going to be basically due east of the Edgewood area, but again, the folks in Edgewood, you are in that tornado warning, and then even back over here through the Grand Saline area in the tornado warning as well. So again, all those hometowns, and again, really all the rural locations in between, you've got to be taking your immediate tornado precautions. Let's go back over to, Josh, if we can, let's go to L2 quickly. Base reflectivity, if we can go to L2 and take a look. I think we're in L3, and let's see if we can take a look at L2 and just maybe give this just a little more texture. And so I think that may be L3, and either way, if we only have L3, that's fine, but if we can put it into L2, say that again, Josh. Is that 2? Okay, so this may be L2. We're getting so far away from the radar site, we're not getting a whole lot of texture. But if you look at this carefully, right, you can actually see the area spin, right? So this is the inflow coming in, right? We've got the big hail core here, but take a look at this bright area of pink. See that coming back around? So even though we're not getting the classic hook here because we're losing texture because we're a ways away from the radar site and we're shooting further up in a cloud base, you can still see the hook coming back right around in that area of pink. So again, we've got inflow coming in here. We've got the big hail core with everything suspended in the mesocyclone, larger than golf ball size hail here, unfortunately. And then again, here is the hook in the pink coming back around. And so again, really the general motion, it's unfortunately, it's redline center track directly through Fruitvale. Now that doesn't mean that there's a tornado on the ground. We don't have a confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but again, you've got to be taking those tornado precautions. But again, there it is. And again, you can still see that area of pink right there, again, lifting to the north. Quickly, Josh, we're so far away from the radar site, but just what we'll do it anyway. Let's take a look at the debris cloud tracker. And just quickly, and again, you can only use some of these products when you're closer to the radar, and again, we may be just a little too far away, but it's just worth it just quickly to take a quick peek here just to see if we're getting any returns on that. The only reason I say that is because kind of within this little hook that we're talking about in the pink, we do have one little shading of black that was showing up, and I didn't know if that was maybe indicative of maybe just a little bit of debris there, but at least here in the debris tracker, we're not necessarily seeing anything sticking out. And again, like I mentioned, we're a little ways away from the radar site, so I would not take this as a matter of fact. Let's go back over to L2 quickly, and this is what I'm talking about here. If we can switch back over. The only thing that kind of stuck out to me was this right here. It's kind of removed from the actual hell core. So this would be the hook. You see it right there. And again, we just kind of have this one little pixel of reflectivity of black that kind of sticks out of nowhere. But again, regardless, the area spin basically moving right there through the Fruitvale area. Let's go back over to velocities. And this is just the raw wind data. We'll take another look at this. And it's still very well pronounced. Take a look at this mesocyclone. So again, wind coming in, wind coming around. There would be the dead center area spin. It would be right through there, again, coming through the Fruitvale area. Copeland, over on the weather wire, do you have anything new coming in from over there? Any reports?
No, William. I mean, it's still about the same, like you're saying. We do still have that tornado warning out in Zandt, and that storm is moving northeasterly about 35 miles per hour. That tornado warning is until 7 p.m. So if you're in the path of the storm, definitely want to take your precautions right now and take cover. And there are still reports of 2-inch or larger hail coming out of that storm as well. So watching that out of that storm. Back to you, William.
Okay, appreciate that update there, Copeland, as well. And so we're still watching. We're on the fringes of the radar. That's the only problem. We're getting so far east of the Metroplex. The radar, the NEXRAD site here, it's just south of Fort Worth. And again, you're seeing we're kind of now getting to within that pixelated range. And the weather service actually may just put this into a different mode as well. Is this L2, Josh? Josh, is this L2? If not, let's try L2 if we're not in L2. L2, okay. So this is it. Again, we're losing a lot of texture on this only for the fact we're getting so far away. Now this right here, I can tell you just within the new sweep, and we may just have to stay on base reflectivity here. Take a look at this inflow notch. This is a very strong still mesocyclone. This still looks very concerning, folks. I'm not going to lie to you at all. But look at this inflow notch. This storm is still, it has got very strong inflow. And again, there's the spin, that what would have been the hook. If we were closer to the radar site, you would see a very well pronounced hook right here. But again, right there is the inflow coming in, and it's coming around. And again, there's still inflow right there. There's the inflow notch to this. So even though it looks a little bit different than the classic hook because we're looking so far up into the cloud base because the radar site is so far away, this is still presenting very well here. So we've still got a huge hail core, golf balls plus possible. But again, the golf balls, at least the good news is they're now well north of Fruitvale. So the big hail core is up in here, and it's in a really rural open area. The only problem is this is just really taking its time moving there through the Fruitvale area. So you don't ever want, again, a strong mesocyclone to move through any hometown. And again, this is a very small hometown over here in Van Zandt County. Josh, quickly, I want to zoom out the radar. Let's go and take a look at the overview. I'm just looking at Joe's video coming in as well. And I know he's still west of it. I believe he's back towards the Metroplex. But I just want to center this up. Let's go and hit let's go and hit the North Texas if we can. And we'll just kind of zoom this out. And again, the reason why I want to do that, and we're getting just a little bit of interference here. I don't know. There, I'm not sure exactly. Okay, there we go. the reason why I wanted to do that, and I apologize, we're just technical things here live, right, is that I just want to take an overview of what we have going on. So folks watching from around North Texas wondering what's happening. Again, right now here in the Metroplex, we still just got this heavy shower. Nothing severe here. We'll take another look at that coming up momentarily. Again, we continue with the severe thunderstorm warning over here in Kaufman County. We'll check that coming up again momentarily. And then again in our far eastern portions of our coverage area, again over here in Van Zandt County, now north of Interstate 20, that's where we continue with the tornado warning until 7 p.m. Let's go and zoom back in there on that warning. I just wanted to give that overview. So again, depending on where you were watching from, you would know exactly what's going on in your area. But again, right now, this is essentially the show so far of the evening. And again, it's over here in the far fringes of our eastern coverage area. Again, one more time, there's Interstate 20. There would be the Canton area. Gun Barrel City way down here. A lot of folks familiar with that. There's Wills Point. And again, this is basically a supercell. It's now tracking up towards the Emory area, eventually out of our coverage area here fairly quickly. But again, this still is posing an opportunity of producing tornadic activity. As it moved through the Fruitvale area, again, looked very ominous. I can tell you that as far as possibly producing some type of tornadic activity. Quickly, let's go back over to velocities. We'll take a look at the raw data coming in here, the raw wind data. And again, because we're getting so far away from the radar site, again, we're really kind of losing what we have here. But again, this is really what was the old area spin. And Josh is kind of flipping through a couple of those. But again, like I mentioned, the radar site's over in Fort Worth, south of Fort Worth. So we're just kind of there on the fringes of that radar site. But again, that's still the area spin, and it does continue to lift to the north. And Josh is kind of flipping through the different beam heights and also some different times there just to see if we can get a better frame. But the truth of the matter is we're just basically right there at the edge of that radar. But again, there's still the green, there's still the red. So the main area spin, there's Fruitvale, is now north of Fruitvale. It's going to be right up in here. And again, it's essentially going to be tracking up towards the Emory area. But again, essentially out of our general coverage area, again, here fairly quickly as well. But like I mentioned, and Josh, if we can, let's stair step back just over maybe the last 10 minutes. And again, just to kind of show the folks what we were talking about as we, again, went over the last 10 minutes or so when this looked so ominous, again, as it was moving through the Fruitvale area. So if we would probably just the 0.05 and then go back just a couple steps if you can there quickly. I'm kind of making them do all this on the fly. It's not always that easy to do. But there, and this is it as he rolls, and yeah, we may pause it right there. So there it is. There's the couplet coming through. That was the area spin, and again, this was about 15 minutes ago now, and you may go and roll it back into motion, and again, there it was right there as it, again, the area spin. This was never a confirmed tornado, and again, we got our fingers crossed. There was never any tornadic activity, but again, there it is right there. Again, this was about 10 minutes ago now, and again, you can see it moving right there through the Fruitvale area. So again, no confirmed tornado. This does not mean there was a tornado, but again, the area spin, it was redline center track directly through the very small hometown there of a Fruitvale. Now we can put it back in the live mode, and again, you can see that's now lifting to the north. It's almost here out of the general warning, and I think the Weather Service has switched the radar back into the other mode that's a little bit better for this. But again, there's the area spin right there, and so it's essentially now kind of on the fringes there of Van Zandt County, and like I mentioned, that'll quickly be lifting to the north. Once it's to the north of the county line there, it'll be out of our general coverage area. But again, the main area spin, the good news, at least now, is it's north of the Fruitvale area. But again, the bottom line is the tornado warning still does continue from Grand Salina, from the Fruitvale area, and then all the way back over through Edgewood as well. And again, any folks, again, in those hometowns, again, should be taking their immediate tornado precautions. But again, the main area of spin, it's well to the north. Now, let's go, Josh, if we can, let's also go, let's go to the rotation history tracks. If we can load that, I'll take the computer just a second to load. And just because it's pulling in a lot of data, this one's had a meso with it almost the entire life cycle. So it's going to try and load this up really quickly. We'll see if it can do it in this short amount of time that we have. If not, we may even go to the hell swath coming up momentarily as well. This is showing us where the rotation history of the storm has been. But again, this one's been rotating at the mid-levels for so long, the computer is just taking it a second to load all that up. Let's go over to the hail history, and we'll take a look at the hail swath where the hail has also moved through, and that will load up quite a bit faster here. And again, give it just 1 second. And there's just so much data tonight that the computer just really quickly has to just process, and then it will post it. So here's the hail history, and we'll zoom it out just a little bit, but take a look at this history with this storm. Again, this has been big hail, Josh, and you may have to center it up just a little bit. here, my friend. And so as you do that, again, you can see where the storm started down around Corsicana. Again, you can see it lifted up towards Gun Barrel City. And then again, the hail got larger and larger and larger as we went through time up until it got towards the Canton area. 2-inch hail, there could be easily golf ball size hail with it. And as the hail sizes got bigger, the mesocyclone also got stronger. And then again, obviously, we then had the tornado warning. And again, we continue with the tornado warning here for at least a few more minutes. But again, it's now trying to lift again up to the north there, up towards the Emory area. Okay, let's switch back over to a normal radar mode if we can here, Josh. And as we do that, there it goes. So again, it's beginning to lift out of our general area, but again, the tornado warning continues. So we're going to stick with it here for a few more seconds. Copeland, I know I heard something coming in over there on the over in the Storm Studios. Give us an update. Are you getting any new information over there?
No, William, it's about the same information here in the Storm Studios. We're still tracking that tornado warning for Van Zandt County still for 7 o'clock. The National Weather Service is discussing if they're going to extend it on into the next county. And then also that severe thunderstorm warning that was for Hunt, Kaufman, and Rockwall County, that was allowed to expire. But we're still watching that because it will be subpar, severe level hail coming from that storm. So we definitely need to continue to watch that because they could re-implement a severe thunderstorm warning for that cell that's going through those counties.
Okay, and that's also where we have Joe. And I was just looking out of the corner of my eye. I'm looking down there at Joe's video. So Joe's over here on this stuff here. And again, say that again, Josh?
He's in Canton.
Oh, and Joe was in Canton. Joe, okay, so I'm sorry about that. So Joe's actually in Canton now. He's due south of where that mezzo is. Let's get Joe on the live line. Guys, I'm sorry, I didn't realize Joe was over there. I thought he was still back to the west. Joe, go ahead. You're on the live line. I know you're due south. We'll try and get your video punched up here too. So you're on Interstate 20. You're looking to the north up at that supercell. Go ahead and give us a live report. Let's see if we can get your video up too.
Yeah, hi, William. Yeah, we just turned off of 20 onto Highway 19. It's a little rural out here, so the video may be in and out. We had, coming down 20, coming into Canton, when the storm had crossed 20, it backed up traffic quite a ways. There was lots of water over the highway. There was, ping pong to golf ball sized hailstones. I actually got out and grabbed a few pictures of them with a dollar bill just for size reference. But it was completely covered in the ground, almost snow, and then it had a lot of fog, and so it was real difficult to see, and so it slowed all the traffic down almost to a crawl on Interstate 20. We eventually got through that, so we've kind of gotten a little behind the game on this little storm cell here, but we are trying to catch back up to it and approach from the south. There was, it looked like there might have been some possible wind damage, a lot of tree leaves could have been knocked off by the hailstones, but there's a few tree limbs, small branches, nothing huge. It got also knocked down along the leaves as the hail core came across the highway there. Outside of that, everything looking pretty good so far. I'm not seeing anything that looks like any lowerings or anything. A little hard to see because I'm getting into some trees out this way. But so we're gonna try to catch back up to this thing and see if it's going to be ongoing through the evening. Back to you, William.
No, great report, Joe. And Joe just literally due south of that storm. And like I mentioned, he's got eyes on it. He's got the live video there coming in on it as well. So again, we're going to continue to check in there with our team of storm trackers as well. And anything new from the Weather Service on what they're going to do with that warning, if they're going to allow that to expire? Okay, let's come back. Let's zoom back in on this if we can. You know what? Let's just very quickly, let's come back over to the Metroplex and let's take a look at that heavier shower. And there was something new coming in. Was that anything for us, or was that to the south, Copeland?
Right now, William, new severe thunderstorm warning for Rains County until 7:30.
So Rains County, that's the county. I apologize. We're going to go back over to the east to our tornado warning. Instead of renewing the tornado warning, they put in a severe thunderstorm warning. If we can, Josh, we'll slide it back over. And like I mentioned, so no new tornado warning, which is good. So there's the new. This is Rains County, where Emory is. That's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning. You see, they're replacing the tornado with the severe. So again, that's good news right there. What was anything new coming in there, Copeland? That's still to the south. Okay, so good news is the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. The storm has essentially moved out of Van Zandt County now. It's up here in Rains County. There's not a new tornado warning. There's only a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And again, there's still going to be an opportunity of some golf ball, ping pong ball size hail. We're going to come right back to this storm. Again, Joe's also right there in the mix on it. We're going to come right back to that. But now I want to come over to the Metroplex. And not because we have anything severe, but we had that heavy shower just producing some heavy rain. I want to see where that is. It looks like it's in northwestern Dallas County now. So let's go and zoom in on this, Josh, if we can. And yeah, let's go and take a closer inspection. So this is basically from the 183. There's the mid-cities, there's the Euless area, there's DFW, there's the big airport. That's the 635 LBJ extension. There's Capel right there, Toyota Music Factory. Again, this isn't severe, but again, this is just heavier rain that's coming through. In fact, we still have 0 strikes of lightning with this. But again, on a day where severe weather is possible, you've got to watch these things minute by minute. So we were over there watching that tornado warning, obviously, for the last several minutes. That's why I wanted to come back over to this one here too. And again, just kind of see if there were any changes. But again, right now, no lightning, so this makes it only a shower. We're just talking about a heavier shower rolling through the area currently right now. So, but again, there is some heavier rain showing up here. And again, even though we're seeing a little bit of curvature, this is worth watching. Like I mentioned, this is just a shower showing up here. Let's go to the rain rate just quickly, Josh. Whenever you're in a really rural area and there's a lot of concrete, a lot of roads like this, the one thing you always watch for and you always got to keep in the back of your mind is an opportunity of, well, some ponding on the roadways and things like that. If we can, let's go to the rain rate if you're able to punch that up just real quick. And let's sample this just real quick too, because again, as this moves through, again, if you live over here in these areas, again, obviously never recommended to drive through rain, but again, right now this is just rain. But again, we're getting some 1.5 to 2.5 inch rainfall rates. That doesn't mean that's how much rain is going to fall, but again, over 1 hour's amount of time, that's how much rain could fall. This just basically shows you the volume of water coming down, and there's a fairly high volume of water coming down. So again, from the 635 extension out towards the DFW big airport, again, the Irving Mall right there along the 183. Again, you can see an opportunity of some fairly heavy rain again over in there. So we'll go back to normal radar mode. Say that again. And Brian's by the airport. Brian, so you're up in the DFW over by the big airport. You're basically right there on that cell, and we'll try and get your video punched up too. But Brian Milland, one of our other storm trackers, he's right there. Again, just one more time, this is not severe. It's just heavy rain. But Brian, you're right there on target. Give us an update from your location.
Yeah, William, I'm actually here on 121, just outside the airport, and I'm waiting for the storm to come up over me. It has not yet, but I am watching it closely, waiting for it to come over, see what's going to happen. That's about it, William. Back to you.
No, really appreciate that update, Brian. You're always in the right place at the right time. I can tell you that. And like I said, I know you were there. But again, we're just kind of watching it to see again if there's anything that's going to change with that. But at least right now, again, it's still just a heavy shower. But again, a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect, and again, things can change. So we're keeping our eyes on it. But again, that's primarily there in northwestern Dallas County. And let's just quickly kind of take a look around here. I'm going to zoom this all the way out. And then, Josh, I'll give you back the control here, and I apologize, I kind of took it over for 1 second. But again, I just want to take an overview here and see exactly what we have going on. In fact, I'm going to put only the warnings on here. Then, like I said, Josh, I'll let you just kind of take over there. But right now, we essentially, and let's make sure that we're in live mode. We may need it may have stopped. We may need to make sure we're in the latest frame. If we can. Okay, so there we go. Now we're in the latest frame. And so again, the only warning in our area right now, it's over here in Rains County. And again, the tornado warning you're seeing there, that's now expiring. It's basically canceled. The storm is lifted off to the north. Again, we've got the heavier shower here in the Metroplex, and we've got some other activity around. But again, the good news is right now, only one warning in our area. Again, we've got the severe thunderstorm watch off to the north, counties in blue. Again, it does include the Metroplex until 10 p.m. And then again, we've got the tornado watch to the south. And again, that's in the green. That's also until 10 p.m. And again, you know, Conditions are favorable for large hail. That's going to be our primary concern, as we've seen with several of these storms already as we've gone through the evening. Hail up to the size of golf balls, not impossible. And then obviously we've had the one tornado warning. We had a strong signature on radar that, again, we may have had some type of tornadic activity. It will be very interesting to see. Joe, one of our storm trackers, is over there. He may be going through that area. If he does, it'll be interesting to see what he does report, if anything, from there, because, again, there was a very strong signature, again, in Van Zandt County of a possible tornado, but again, it was never confirmed, at least so far. So, okay, let's go back over to radar. We'll take another look at what we have going on. And I want to go, hey, Josh, let's go to our hail history product real quick if we can. And this will plot the history of the hail that we've been dealing with so far as we've gone through the evening. And it'll take it just 1 second to plot up, but take a look at this hail history. So this is the cell. This was the supercell that, again, actually ended up being tornado warned. But again, you can see where it started down here around Corsicana. The hail got bigger. The hail got bigger. It got bigger and bigger, finally up to golf ball plus, maybe some ping pong ball size hail. Then it crossed Interstate 20, and then about that time, that's when we may have had some tornado genesis with it as well. That's when, again, the tornado warning was issued. And then again, over here in southeastern Dallas County, we had what was really only a shower lifting through Ellis County, lifted into southeastern Dallas County, and it essentially energized right there, and we had an opportunity of some golf ball size hail as well over around the Seagoville area. But as soon as it moved out of Dallas County, crossed over Interstate 20, it then weakened as well. So we've had two, at least, opportunities of larger hail, you can see, and then we're still watching this other cell. It's well out of our coverage area, but there's a big supercell down to the southwest. We'll see what happens with that one. And again, you can also see that one has a very long hail history too, but again, that's south of our coverage area, but that might try and come in as we get a little bit deeper on into the evening. So okay, let's go back over to live radar mode here if we can. Okay, and let's do this. Let's go and zoom back in just to the east over here. And again, like I mentioned, the good news is right now only one warning, just the one severe thunderstorm warning here in Rains County. You're still seeing the tornado warning blinking. That's essentially canceled. That storm is lifted to the north. Let's go in here to Rains County real quick. Again, it's still a big hail core here, and this is the real concerning thing with this. It is the hail core. Let's go back over to the hail core tracker, and this is going to be due east of Emory, the black going to the white. And again, we'll go and sample some of this here, Josh. And again, you can still see at least an opportunity of 2-inch hail. So that's at least golf ball, maybe even some ping pong ball size hail. And again, so that's still the most concerning. There's the latest sweep. Let's go and sample that if we can. And so again, the way it looks, the darker reds, the brighter reds going to darker reds rather, again, still that opportunity for golf ball to some ping pong ball size hail. Okay, let's also go to velocities. We'll take another look inside the storm, just at some of the raw wind data. And again, we've still got an area spin. It's nowhere near as pronounced as it was, but again, you can still see this fairly broad mesocyclone ongoing here as well. And again, that's going to be east of Emory. Now, the good news is no longer a tornado warning or anything with this. Again, the tornado warning to the south has now been canceled, but again, we're still just watching this area spin, and a lot of times when you just have areas of spin, again, those will still go on to produce some big hail, and again, that right there is the primary concern still with that cell. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom back out one more time. And again, we'll take one more overview. And let's do this. While we're on this, let's go back down around the Canton area. And I believe Joe is north of Canton now, there in Van Zandt County. And let's go and talk to Joe. We'll try and get his video punched up too. But Joe, tell us where you are now. You've basically been on this cell. Tell us where you are and give us an update.
Yeah, hi, William. Yeah, so we're on. Kind of got away from us. We're on the southern end of it now.
And we may be losing Joe just kind of intermittently. I know he's in a really rural area. That gets very rural there.
There is, so a lot of leaves on the highway where the hailstones have came across. And
Losing you just a little bit, Joe. We'll try and stick with it here for just 1 second if we can. Van Zandt County, it just gets so rural. So let's see if we can get you. Okay, and I think we're losing. I think we've lost Joe. I mean, he's just so rural where he is. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and you're just in such a rural area, Joe. It's okay. Try it one more time, and if not, we'll come back to you here in 1 second.
It has dropped a lot of rain, a lot of water in the ditches. I've seen a couple of folks who were stuck in the ditch because they kind of pulled off in the ditch and got stuck in the muddy water. Outside of that, we're just kind of trying to catch back up to it and stay with it. It still looks pretty healthy as far as we not seeing any rotation or anything as far as tornadic activity just yet. So anyway, that's all I got at this point. Back to you, William.
Okay, Joe, really appreciate that update. And I know we were trying to work with your audio there. You're just so rural, and your report will come in a little bit better coming up momentarily, but we just kind of had to take what we were getting there. Anything new on that right there, Copeland, or is that also still down to the south as well?
No, William. The tornado warning that was